All right, we are streaming to YouTube. We are ready when you are.
I'll call this meeting of the Seward City Council to order. It is Monday, September 22nd, 2025. It is 7 p.m. Chief Tyner, would you please lead us in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Mr. Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Roll call for tonight's meeting. Barnwell?
Here.
Kreitz?
Here.
Warner?
Here.
Osenga?
Here.
Finch is excused. Wells?
Here.
And Mayor McClure.
Here.
You have a quorum.
Okay, thank you. We have two proclamations tonight. I'll read the first, and Vice Mayor Osenga will read the second. The first one is a proclamation for Fire Prevention Month. Whereas the City of Seward is committed to ensuring the safety and security of all those living and visiting our town, and whereas fire is a serious public safety concern, both locally and nationally, and lithium-ion batteries are quickly becoming one of the leading causes of fires in the United States. And whereas lithium-ion batteries are found in everyone's home, including cell phones, laptops, headphones, power tools, and toys, and whereas proper use, storage, disposal of these lithium-ion batteries are essential to safety for people, and whereas the Seward Fire Department urges the citizens of Seward to only purchase listed items that are stamped from a nationally recognized testing lab that determines the product meets safety standards. And whereas Seward residents should only charge items using cables designed for the item by the manufacturer, and should only charge devices on hard surfaces, not under pillows or on a bed. And whereas lithium-ion batteries should not be thrown away in a normal trash bin, as they could cause fires, but rather should be recycled properly. And whereas Seward residents are responsible to public education measures and are able to take personal steps to increase their safety from fire, especially with lithium-ion batteries. And whereas the 2025 Fire Prevention Week theme, Charge into Fire Safety, Lithium-Ion Batteries in Your Home, serves to remind us of proper use, maintenance, and disposal of lithium-ion batteries can keep us safe as a community. Now therefore, I, Sue McClure, Mayor of the City of Seward, do hereby proclaim October 2025 as Fire Prevention Month throughout the city, and I urge all the people of Seward to make sure they are aware of lithium-ion batteries in their homes and how to properly use, maintain, and dispose of these batteries, and to support the many public safety initiatives and efforts of the Seward Fire Department, dated this 22nd day of September 2025. And we've got the chief here and others.
Fire Marshal Mallory.
And Fire Marshal. And you might want to say a few things.
Fire Marshal Mallory.
And you got some others of your kind.
Yes, we have some of our volunteers and paid staff outside, and then we also have some of our Explorer group, our youth.
Oh, that's what that, okay.
Yeah, thank you guys. Thank you to the council and to the mayor for this proclamation. Just wanted to say with lithium-ion batteries, they're becoming more and more common, and we find them in more and more things. And while they're great technology and they contribute a lot, they can also be extremely dangerous. And so just being aware of what they are and making sure that we're just using them properly, doing the proper things with them, can keep everyone safe in your home and in the community. And if you guys have any questions about any of that or anything in your home with fire safety, please reach out to the fire department. We would love to come and help out where we can, and walk through your home if you're okay with that, and give you some tips to make sure you guys are staying safe. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Fire. Hey, are you going out to train and practice?
Yeah, they're training tonight.
Good. Okay, and then we have a proclamation for the Sister City Exchange students. And I'd like the four that went to Japan to come on up here, if you would, and turn around so everyone can see you while he reads the proclamation. I guess Councilmember Kreitz wants to stay back. There you go.
Okay, thank you, Madam Mayor. Whereas the City of Seward enjoys a fruitful and active sister city relationship with Obihiro, Japan, and whereas in August 2025, 4 Seward High School students, Alta, Logan, Alex, and Jaylyn, along with Julie and Clinton Kreitz, made the long journey to Obihiro to represent Seward, and whereas the exchange group experienced the culture and history of Obihiro, Japan throughout the week, they stayed with different host families, visited museums, landmarks such as fire department, scenic gardens, and participated in a tea ceremony, and whereas the exchange group also met with the mayor of Obihiro at City Hall, participated in the 3-day celebration of the Hagen Festival, and was gifted a full kimono set. And whereas the amazing hospitality of the host families, the city of Obihiro, and citizens of Japan have created memories and connections with our Seward group that will last a lifetime. Now therefore, Sue McClure, mayor of the city of Seward, Alaska, recognized this Seward group of exchange students for going out of their comfort zone and experiencing a totally new culture in Japan, all the while representing the city of Seward, Alaska. She encourages future students to take advantage of this remarkable opportunity to continue our sister city exchange program with Obihiro, Japan, dated this 22nd day of September 2025 in the city of Seward, Alaska.
We'll let Julie hand those out. There's one for you.
Yeah.
There's a copy of the proclamation for each of you, and there's a presentation later in the program today, so we'll hear about what went on, or see pictures. So thank you for that.
Thanks, Julie. Good job.
That brings us to citizen comments on any subject except items scheduled for public hearing. We don't have any public hearing items tonight. There's 36 minutes allotted for this. You get 3 minutes. And there's a sign-up sheet, but if you did not sign up after those have spoken, I'll just take show of hands up to the 36-minute time. And when you come up, when your name's called, you need to speak into the microphone there and tell your name, and if you live inside or outside the city limits. It's just for the record. So, Mr. Clerk, who's signed in?
There are 3 people signed in. The first one is a signature. I cannot read it, unfortunately.
Okay, who signed in first? Okay, come on up. And then we'll just need your name and inside or outside the city limits.
Randy McFarland, outside the city limits. First of all, thank you for the opportunity to speak. I'd like to speak about the sign ordinance that's coming up tonight. I think a couple of the definitions are sort of vague. I'm going to hold up a couple visual just so we can, is that okay?
Mm-hmm.
Just signs. And I wish I had a different, I'm going to start with this sign, and I'll know what it is. When is this sign, when it's placed on the road, is that still a sign? Okay, and it doesn't cover any horizontal signs. I think that's a sign. Another thing that I see a problem with is the definition of snipe signs. I think if you have this sign on a private building trying to affect parking on public property, I feel that is wrong. That should be included in under traffic signs.
Okay.
And there's something, and I've read this thing about 4 times, and it's, I'm all about parking, but when it comes down to the nuts and bolts of on-street parking, that's not really my forte. So right now we have somebody, and I spoke to this a couple of years ago on and I didn't have my hearing aids, so I have my hearing aids today, so if you gong me, I'll hear it, and it'll stop right away. So right now in the harbor, we have, and this problem is progressing. It's now in a couple of businesses downtown. People are putting up signs basically trying to protect parking for their business or for their employees, or they don't like the free 30-minute parking, or all sorts of reasons. But when people put this up, or this up, well, I couldn't find the loading zone one free that I could print out, and I didn't really want to spend any money. But those 3 signs are basically put up by businesses, and they affect how things go on private, on public property. And I hate, I'm not, my main concern about safety is if, let's just take the Pride banner on the sidewalk down here. If it's not a sign, that's fine. If it is a sign, it's fine. But since it's put down, I'd like to be sure that it meets, I smile every time I drive over it, but I'm also nervous, wondering then if it actually has the required non-skid on there for people on bicycles or pedestrians. I don't know if it was put up by the city, if it was put up by a private group, doesn't really make any difference. I think it's still a sign. Let's see, I'm trying to talk real fast and get everything in here. So, I think this is a sign also. When it's on the ground, it's a sign. Okay? They should only be put there by city officials, all of these. Private business owners shouldn't be doing any of this that affect parking on public streets or the public parking lots. If they want handicap parking on their own spot, that's fine. If they want no parking on their own property, that's fine. Same with loading zones and everything. But the definition of the snipe sign should be expanded and clarified a little bit. And I don't want to, I know a lot of people have done work on this sign thing, and it's kind of contentious, and I don't mean to hold it up or anything, but I sure would like to feel safe when I ride my bike. And thank you very much for not gonging me.
Thank you. Who else is signed up?
Tim McDonald?
Tim McDonald, inside city limits. I'm a little confused about the utility rates and the utility itself. The city put forward twice, tried to sell the utility, twice was voted down. Now, with an increase in overhead, everything's hunky-dory. And it's not just you guys, but I don't think the utility should be subject to the vagaries of various administrations. It's too important for the people, it's too valuable, and I mean, a lot of people really depend on it. You know, the city still took millions of dollars out of the utility fund and put it in the general fund. I don't think that's right. You raise the rates after the votes were lost, and then you still pull money out of the fund. So I think that a co-op is the only way to go with our utility. And I hope you guys will agree with me, this is for the good of the people, and half the people don't have any say on what happens to utility because they live outside of city limits, so that's part of it. But a co-op would cure those things, and we can set it up, and whether it's the same people running the utility is fine. It's just the fact that we can't have it as a cash cow for the city anymore. It's too important. We can't afford the increases. Everybody's screaming bloody murder about the increases that have been put on them, and it's got to stop. This is too important for it. Nobody goes without electricity. Nobody goes without food. Nobody goes without water. Nobody goes without air. So it's right up there in importance. And I would hope that you guys would not fight this and would agree to it. And I don't think you should sell the utility to a co-op. I think you should give the utility to a co-op. It's been paid for many times over by the people that use it. It's not paid for by the city, it's paid for by the ratepayers. And so you guys should, at the earliest opportunity, help with the formation of a co-op and give the utility to that co-op, which is the members, the people that pay into it, from here to Hope, or wherever it is. So, thank you, and I hope you all agree with me on that.
Was there anyone else?
One more person is signed in, Amanda Sweeting.
Hi, I'm Amanda Sweeting, outside city limits. I'm here, as always, on behalf of the Seward Chamber of Commerce and Visitor Center with some upcoming exciting things that are happening, always exciting. We have the Seward Alaska Entrepreneurship Week coming up from September 30th to October 2nd, and it starts off on Tuesday, September 30th from 6 to 8 p.m. at the Seward Gateway Hotel. We're having a small business appreciation mixer, which is sponsored by Royal Caribbean. There will be 2 free drink tokens, free food, Banana Hands is playing, and Royal Caribbean will also be making a very exciting announcement. So if you're someone who is looking maybe to start your own business or an entrepreneurship, I would highly recommend coming to this announcement by Royal Caribbean. And then we have Ladies Who Launch on Wednesday, October 1st from 6 to 7:30 at the Rowdy Radish. And the Seward Chamber Luncheon, that series starts, and the first one will be a topic in trends in traffic. And that's by Kellyanne, and she's going to be highlighting the insights from Datify's visitation data alongside the local sales tax trend. So that one's really interesting as well. Also, speaking of which, the luncheons and after fives have started for the winter and spring. So if you have a topic that you think the community would be interested in, or you have a topic you want to present to the community, go ahead and email us, and we'll be happy to set up that luncheon or after 5. And then also we have the destination guide underway. We give out 40 to 50,000 copies. It's the most demanded visitation guide out of the chambers in Alaska. So if you want to be involved in that, like maybe you have an ad, or if you have any beautiful pictures you'd like to submit for it, we would be happy to talk that too. And that's pretty much it from the chamber. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. And that's all that's signed up, right? Okay, does anyone else have anything they want to say on any topic? No? Okay, we'll move along to the approval of the agenda and the consent agenda. I'd ask for a motion to approve and a second, please.
I move for the approval of tonight's agenda and consent agenda.
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Are there any changes that anyone would like to make? I have one. I'd like to add Resolution 2025-092 to the consent agenda. It's the one concerning the radio tower maintenance. Is there any objection to that? Okay. Any other changes? Okay, Mr. Clerk, we're ready to vote.
Voting on the approval of tonight's agenda and consent agenda as amended. Kreitz?
Yes.
Wills?
Yes.
Barnwell?
Yes.
Warner?
Yes.
Osenga?
Yes.
And Mayor McClure.
Yes.
Your agenda and consent agenda have been approved, and on the consent agenda were the September 8th, 2025 City Council meeting minutes, the introduction of Ordinance 2025-014, amending Seward City Code 15.10.140, definitions for animal shelter and veterinary hospital, and 15.10.226, land uses allowed table for veterinary hospital, introduction of Ordinance 2025-015, amending Seward City Code Chapter 15.20 signs, introduction of Ordinance 2025-016, amending Seward City Code 15.10.140, definitions for dwelling, apartment, commercial building, and mixed-use development, and Table 15.10.226, land uses allowed for dwelling, apartment in a commercial building. Resolution 2025-092, authorizing the city manager to accept the proposal with GlobeLink Telecom for radio tower maintenance and ladder installation in the amount of $34,500 and appropriating funds. Resolution 2025-093, authorizing the city manager to purchase playground equipment from Northwest Playgrounds in the amount of $22,487. Resolution 2025-094, authorizing the city manager to accept and appropriate community assistance program funds in the amount of $192,239.30 for the purpose of capital projects related to fire, public safety, and road maintenance. Resolution 2025-095, authorizing the city manager to accept funds from the State of Alaska Division of Libraries, Archives, and Museums Grant in Aid Program for the Seward Museum Exhibit Reader Rails Project. And lastly, the approval of the canvas board for the 2025 regular municipal election.
Okay, thank you. So what that means is those either have passed, well, they've passed or they've been introduced. So the three ordinances that said introduction of ordinance, that means we'll have public hearing on those at our next meeting. Okay, so just so people understand. Next, we have the city manager report, and you'll find that on page 77 if you have a packet. Madam City Manager, and welcome.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. As I wrote in my city manager report, I am both jet-lagged and exhausted from flying back from the East Coast yesterday, but a big shout-out to the entire city team and admin staff. I was able to completely disengage from my work phone and email thanks to Jason for being the best deputy city manager. Wanted to put it on public record. But also, tonight I wanted to call out another exciting thing that was passed on the consent agenda. Our library and museum coordinator was able to receive some grant funding from the state to do exhibit reader rails at the library. So even though we passed that on consent agenda, I wanted to make sure to highlight the hard work that went into that grant application and receiving that. The state person in charge of that called me to say that it was one of the best grant applications that they received this year. So that was really exciting as well. And then I also wanted to highlight on September 29th, we will be having a utility town hall meeting at the Ray Building at 7 p.m. to talk about the city of Seward's electric future. And we have some guests coming from different co-ops from across the state to speak at that, and we'll be able to look deep into some of the results from the community survey that we did. And then following that on October 13th, we'll be having a work session with council. So it'll be a nice public town hall meeting that we can bring some of the comments and things that we heard at that town hall meeting to the work session on October 13th at 5:30 p.m. Other than that, if anybody has any questions, I'm open to answering.
Any questions for the city manager? You look like you might. Councilmember Wells.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I don't have a question, actually. I have a statement. First, I want to applaud administration and community development and those on planning and zoning that participated in bringing these resolutions forward, these ordinances to amend city code. One, for the shelter and the animal house bill. I'm really excited about that. And two, for the removing of the continuous use permits for mixed development under ordinance 25016. Now, I know that those are just coming here for us to speak about in the future. I would like to ask the mayor if it's an appropriate time. There's some additional continuous use permits that I believe are hindering, just like these ones that we are looking to discuss, and I would just like to ask council to direct administration to come back with an ordinance similar to the ones that they've brought forward tonight that also remove the continuous use permit from developing dwellings, two-family duplexes, and dwelling multifamilies in auto commercial, harbor commercial, and central business.
I don't know. I'll ask the clerk. I would think that this would be something that we would discuss when those original ordinances are brought. Mr. Clerk.
Is this something that could be amended
That's what
during the enactment of the ordinance, or is it too different than what's presented in the introduction?
I don't believe it's too different than what's submitted in the introduction, and I wasn't sure about the process, and that's why I wanted to bring it up tonight.
I'd prefer just to have it, when it comes up for the public hearing and our discussion, we can make amendments at that time.
Okay, thank you.
And in addition, based off that comment, the administration can prepare any documents necessary or any things in addition to that, so.
Right.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Okay, I don't mean to stifle creativity.
No, I appreciate it. Thank you. That's why I wanted to ask.
Okay. Any other questions, additions? Good report. Mr. Bickling, do you have anything? You put in a couple weeks of hard work, so do you have any comments at all?
No, we have great city staff that takes care of business, so.
I have to say that Mr. Bickling was very responsive. Usually I call the city manager when people call me with things, and so he got all of that, and it worked really well. Things got taken care of that way, so thank you.
Back to normal, not hard work.
That's a good team. Anything else? Okay, we have, I've just lost everything here. We have city clerk report on page 88. And Mr. Clerk, what you got?
As of this morning at 8:30, we were open for the absentee in-person voting, and that will continue on right up to Election Day, so Monday through Friday, 8:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. right here in council chambers. We have the City of Seward ballots, we have the borough ballots for Bear Creek, and the borough ballots for the Seward-Bull Point area. So if you have any reason to think that you might not be here on October 7th for Election Day, just come in early and get it taken care of.
Okay. And you get a nice little sticker. I peeked in the door, so there's stickers if you like that. Yes. Mr. Barnum.
Sorry, I'm kind of naive on this, but isn't the borough voting this year changing to a perhaps changing and to a paper only, or am I?
Oh, that is on the ballot.
That's on the ballot. Okay, sorry. So I jumped the gun. Got it.
Yeah, so that's one thing that you'll be voting on.
Okay.
You might mention where people can access the borough's election pamphlet?
Oh, yeah, thank you. When the borough clerk was here last week for training, she dropped off the supply, so we have several copies. We have some next to the deputy city manager if anyone wants to take one, and then we have them available in our office, and it's also on the borough website.
Right, if you go to kpb.us and just right down there that says election information, and you can look at the pamphlet. What the pamphlet, it's the thing that used to be put in everybody's mailboxes, but they now, you probably received a card in your mailbox saying you can access it, but just because a lot of people get it online or whatever, but it has all the information you could possibly want on those propositions that Councilmember Barnwell was talking about. You should read through those at the borough, on the borough ballot. Important stuff. And bios and all that. Yes, Councilmember.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Sorry, I wanted to ask administration a couple of questions that were brought up during citizen comments. Could administration, I know that we put in the budget to lower the rate for the utility, not just a winter lower, but an actual lowering, a reduction in the rate. Can you tell me when that is and how much it is?
Yeah, so actually beginning October 15th, the winter rate will be lowered by 2 cents. So starting, what day is today? September 22nd, starting from the October 15th to the November 15th billing cycle, the rate will be adjusted to 2 cents lower. But for the winter rate period. In order to accommodate year-round residents.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
Would administration know the paint that was used on the crosswalk, referred to as the rainbow crosswalk, was that up to development code? I don't know what the term is, but the type of paint that needs to be used, and was that sourced properly?
Yeah, so all of the walkable, so that was installed by a nonprofit organization through the walkable permit, the walkable mural permit, and part of the permit application is showing that you'll be utilizing paints that are up to traffic and road standards.
And you have.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Last question.
Yeah.
I know we talk about parking enforcement and we talk about tourist parking and that type of thing, but we haven't ever discussed parking enforcement for private property owners that are at the harbor, for example, that are putting signs on city property in front of their businesses. Is that something that we're aware of? Is that the administration is aware of? And if so, do we have a process to rectify that?
We can look into it.
I appreciate that very much.
So it was a question too, as I'm eyeballing the harbor master in the back of the room, wondering, because there is a variation. You can put a sign on your property that dictates parking on that property, but if it's interpreted as a sign in a public area to dictate that, it's different, which is where that snipe sign comes from in the code. So we can do some research into that and see what that entails in the harbor area and others as well.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Councilmember Barnwell. We were asking questions of the clerk.
Yeah.
It's fine. We're very fluid here, so you can address whatever.
I can address the clerk on that. Manager. On the sign topic, I've had inquiries about similar, for instance, in the harbor for political signs, or actually within neighborhoods, political signs, is there a time limit? You know, are they timed out, or is there any way for the city to enforce how long political signs can be up? Or is that something that's just a prerogative of the landowner or the business owner to put up political signs endlessly for a year?
There are rules about that, about sizes and about dates, and I know for sure that we've taken care of one. We've addressed some ones that I'd say would be like major infractions, like someone putting up the sign the size of a piece of plywood in their yard when they're only supposed to be like this big. But outside of that, we really don't have the bandwidth to go and like drive around and do. I would say like major investigation on that type of stuff.
And part of the sign code ordinance that we'll be seeing during public hearing next meeting is to address the fact that in our sign code there are currently instances where we are dictating what a sign can say, which is an infraction upon freedom of speech. So balancing the line between what a sign says and whether or not it is allowable by sign code based off of size, location, and permanency is two different conversations.
Thanks.
Okay. Anything else for the clerk?
Yeah, what a clerk report. Come on, Chris.
We don't have a lot of business tonight, so anything else? Okay, we're going to move along to presentations. And the first one is a presentation by our Community Library and Museum Director, Yolanta Ryan.
Drum roll, please. Yolanta, please.
Sorry, I pronounce it wrong.
Oh, thank you. So my name is Yolanta Ryan. I'm the Seward Community Library and Museum Director. And I'd like you to meet our team, in case you have not met them. They're an awesome group that keep the museum and library running smoothly every day. There we are wearing our summer reading t-shirts. On the bottom left is Karen Cooper McLaughlin. She's our Deputy Library Director. Myself, then Allie Stacy, our Museum Curator. On the top left is Laura Lopez, our Seasonal Aide. Then Lily Kornichuk, our Library Technician. Then Teresa Bain, she's our newest member. And Luke Gunter, they're both Seasonal Library Aides. And Kara Scheffermeyer, I can't pronounce that, our Library Aide as well. Yeah, and I want to share with you our mission. Our mission is connecting our communities and sharing our stories. The Seward Community Library and Museum is a unique combined public library, museum, archives, and community center serving Seward and the surrounding area, providing opportunities for equal access to information, technology, lifelong learning, community enrichment, and the preservation of Seward's heritage. So we strive to uphold our mission every day, but we couldn't do it without the support of our partners and our volunteers, which we're very grateful for. And some of our main partners are the Seward Community Library Association, also known as the Friends of the Library, the Resurrection Bay Historical Society, or RBHS, the Iditarod Trailblazers, and the Seward Prevention Coalition, and all our volunteers. And in addition to all the support we get from the city and our partners and our volunteers, we still apply for grants to help fund and expand our work. And some of the grants we received this year are grants from organizations such as the Online with Libraries. We received a grant and it helps pay for the internet for our patrons. The Public Library Association grant helps pay for our books and our library services. And as you just heard, Ally received the Alaska State Museum's grant to pay for the reading rails to help with reading accessibility. We also received a grant for digital literacy and Thinking Money for Kids. And so while we get these grants to help grow and innovate, our main goal at the library is to help with our day-to-day tasks, our day-to-day things that the patrons need. So we provide a lot of resources for everybody. So beyond books, computers, and museum exhibits, we provide printing, faxing, laminating, free Wi-Fi, scanning, passports, spiral book binding, and we also have a recovery corner, which has information and resources for people that are seeking help with mental health and substance abuse. We offer programs for all ages. Some of our ongoing programs are digital literacy workshops on Wednesdays, and Karen sometimes does them at the library and sometimes goes to the senior center, so it's been well received. We have chess, we have Bloom Play and Chat on Tuesdays and Thursdays, Thinking Money for Kids, Story Time on Fridays, Tech Tutoring on Tuesdays, 1,000 Books Before Kindergarten, and of course our summer reading program. And I wanted to read this quote to you from one of our patrons, if I can read that far. Love the library. The current staff makes us feel so welcome and comfortable. Grateful for the program coordinator for all the library events. Fun for the whole family, which can be tough to find indoors in the winters here. So just all this feedback reminds us of how important our programming is, and especially in the winter time in Seward. And I wanted to show you a little snapshot of our reach in 2025. We had over 97,000 visits. To date, we have almost 10,000 registered users. We have over 31,000 items in our collection. This year, we've circulated more than 34,000 items. On top of that, over 7,000 ebooks and e-audio items were circulated. We hosted 344 programs, and we had 3,643 program attendees. So we feel like we play an important role in our town, and thank you for supporting us. Also want to show you a few of our highlights from 2025. A lot of these highlights are to better serve our community. There seemed to be a need last winter when I started to be open more hours, so we opened up another day. We opened up on Monday, so now we're open 6 days a week. We've recently launched a monthly events calendar. We've also added an online access to current newspapers, so we're part of Newsbank. So you can go to our website and click on Newsbank. It'll take you to all the newspapers across the nation. You can access the Clarion, the Anchorage Daily News, and newspapers from everywhere, so you can read the news every day, which is pretty awesome. We have a free 2-year subscription to that. We also were featured in a Japanese documentary film, which was pretty neat, and they were highlighting Mr. Kawabe and Mr. Wada. And Ally has a pretty big role in this. This is on YouTube if you're interested in watching us. This happened last winter. Also, the Resurrection Bay Historical Society's collection is now online. Ally has been working really hard with the volunteers to upload photos and objects and artifacts, which are now available online to everybody. She was also vital in helping launch our library museum virtual tour. So if you're sitting in New York, you want to check out the library or the museum, you just click in and you can walk around. It's pretty neat. Also, I've been working with her to launch our online historic newspaper archive. So a lot of our historic newspapers are now online, and we're adding more every day. Just in the last few days, we've had patrons asking to have more foreign language books in our collection. So we just ordered some books in Mandarin and Polish, Bulgarian, Spanish, French, German, so we'll have more of those coming. We've also expanded our discovery kits. We had this nonprofit group, they're on the right, they came from Minnesota and donated us a fishing kit, which has a fishing pole and fishing lures, so you can check out this kit and go fishing, which is pretty fun. We're putting together a birding kit, and the Friends of the Library are donating 2 sewing machines to be able to check out to patrons. And in the spring, we hope to have a little area with a seed swap, so you can swap seeds. Some of the things coming up. Our recent programs that were fun this summer, we had our first annual garden party, which was a big hit. We had live music and warm races. We had a salmon dip-off and a cakewalk. We collaborated with the Friends of the Library, and it was just a fun event. We recently had a World War II celebration at Fort McGillivray, which was a big hit, summer reading program, of course, and a Founder's Day celebration. And we had a Stuffy sleepover where kids from the community brought in their Stuffy, and the Stuffies went on an adventure for the weekend, and they got a book of all the adventures that the Stuffies went on, which is pretty fun. And I did want to highlight the summer reading program, which was very successful this year. We had 272 readers, 21 preschoolers, 131 students, and 120 adults. And over 200,000 minutes were read. That's 5 months of continuous reading. So if you were to start reading at the beginning of summer and read all the way to Thanksgiving, that's how much the Seward community read, which is pretty awesome. We had 19 events for the summer reading and gave away almost 1,500 prizes. And this was all thanks also to our sponsors, SCLA, SPC, and Seward Ocean Excursions. And we had a little fun quote from one of our summer reading program members. Fantastic program, fun, creative, engaging, rewarding, challenging, and competitive in a fun reading way. Love the prizes and swag. So I think a lot of people had a good time. And if you are a reader, we are now part of Bean Stack, so you can register there. I know a lot of people already have, but you can track your reading, and there's also challenges amongst other community members. We're having some community challenges coming up, so it's pretty fun. And just around the corner, I wanted to give you a heads up what's happening next. It's Good Neighbor Week. If you want to come into the library, we have a little art tiles you can color to create a community art project. There's a tea party this Thursday and a potluck and recipe share this Saturday. So if you want to join that, that would be fun. We also have a passport processing event Saturday, October 25th. If you'd like to apply for a passport, give us a call. There's a few more slots left. It's on a Saturday. We also ordered a couple credit card machine readers that are coming. They were shipped on Friday, so it's going to be happening. We'll be able to take credit card payments opposed to just cash at the library and the museum. And we'll have a pumpkin decorating contest and a holiday open house coming up, or in the near future. Halloween first. And I mentioned all the collaborations that the museum and the library are working on, but I wanted to give you kind of a highlight of their summer and what they're up to next. So we were open 7 days a week with RBHS running the museum on Sundays. We showed two movies with Waves Over Seward and the Iditarod movie. Every day we had rotating exhibits. We had the baling baskets in Seward High School. And we had numerous tours coming through with the Smithsonian tours and many school groups and other guiding groups. This winter we'll be working on a collections management fund grant, also researching into an artwork archive for fine art collections, and then planning a World War II exhibit and a Benny Benson and Jesse Lee Home exhibit upgrade. And this summer we'll be hosting the State of Alaska America 250 travel exhibit, which will be focusing on baseball. And we'll have 10 panels, and one of the panels will be focused on Seward's or baseball history here in Seward, so that'll be pretty fun. And last but not least, we're going to collaborate with the Historic Preservation Center to work on awareness for ongoing projects such as Hoban Park and St. Peter's. Yeah, just wanted to thank you for all your support and looking forward to working with you in the future.
Boy.
Look at that.
That's remarkable. Very good. Are there any questions for Yolanda? Yeah, Councilmember Warner.
Thank you, Madam Mayor McClure. More of a statement. I am so happy to see this presentation and all the amazing work you guys are doing at the library. It's one of my favorite places in the community. And my son really enjoys being there and hosted events there through my employment, but I just really appreciate how welcoming the space is and just all the amazing programs. So thank you for your work.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, I agree. Any questions? I have a question. Do you have a date for your holiday party yet?
We do not.
We need to coordinate.
Yes, I was thinking we do.
Historical Society, okay.
Yeah, that
okay.
sounds perfect.
No questions? Well, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
That was wonderful. And we have one more presentation from the Sister City Exchange visit. And That involves you guys, so what you
So
got?
I will go ahead, Alex, would you mind starting off the presentation?
Sure.
Okay, thank you. And Jaylen, the remote is right there, if you want to click it every once in a while to show the presentation.
So, yeah, this is Japan. So, the first day, actually, technically, this is the second day that we started in Japan because we got there the night before. And we woke up, I ate breakfast with my host family, and we went to a little potluck. Same thing that day, it was later, this was probably in the afternoon, we went to, it was like a horse racing track there, which is really interesting because it's like, it's not the typical horse racing that you would like think of. And then pretty much the horses, they're I don't know how to explain it, but they're on sleds, and then it's like dragging through like a lot of like gravel, so it's really slow. It's like a short track and it takes like a minute and a half for each race. And then I also remember there's like a betting system that you're not allowed to do if you're under 18, but Chris, the like guide we had, bought me a ticket and then just gave it to me, and I paid it with my own money, so that was funny. But I won too. I bet on horse number 6 and it won, so I'm happy about that. And then also that day we went to, I don't know what it's called, but it's like, there's like a building where it's like a Ainu people, I don't know. But we learned some dances they had, and then that little instrument they have in the middle, we learned how to do that too. I wasn't very good at it, but it was a really interesting experience. There's just more pictures of us dancing.
It plays videos and shows.
Oh yeah.
There's sound.
Is that the instrument?
Yeah.
There's sound.
And then I think this was our third day in Obihiro because the day before that was our host family free day. And then first thing in the morning, we went and explored, or not exactly explored, but we went through the Obihiro Fire Department, and we got to see the, I don't know what it's called, but like the room where they get like their 911 phone calls. And then we went downstairs and we looked at all their fire trucks. And then my favorite part of the whole thing was when they took us up on the ladder trucks and they made us go like all the way to the top and we could see over the buildings and everything. It was super cool. So yeah.
Hi, my name is Alta Lojmark. I wasn't really aware if we were going to be narrating these, but so I'm just going to be talking about some things that really made an impact while I was there. I didn't really expect much before going. I didn't know anything about Japan, but when I got there, it was certainly an unforgettable experience. One of the things that I really loved, it seems like a small thing, but it really changed my perspective, was the food. Japanese cuisine, it looks nothing like it tastes, and I get back in America and everything just looks how it tastes, and it's there's no surprises, and it's just there's so much different variety over there. And my host families, they made me try all these different foods. The bread is so delicious over there. It's like the smallest thing, but it's so delicious. I tried like fried squid. It sounds interesting, and it was. It's another thing that really impacted my my visit was that tea ceremony. I was never a fan of matcha
because I don't think that Starbucks here really sold it. But having it made by these women in kimonos, they taught us how to whisk it, they taught us the right amount of matcha powder and water. It was actually kind of good. So that was definitely experience. Also up here you can see the shrines we went to. We were taught by our tour guide Chris. He told us how to enter a shrine, how to act, what to wear. He taught us to bow before we enter a shrine and to bow when we leave. As you can see up here on the far top right, those are fortunes, or they're like little pieces of wood. You can write like wishes you have, and then you hang it there, and then I guess the priest of the temple is not a priest, I forgot what they call it, but after like a month he'll take it and he'll burn it, and then all those wishes will hopefully come true. I think the shrines were definitely a huge part of our visit. I'm going to pass this along to you guys.
Hi, my name's Jalen. I have to say my favorite part of the trip was experiencing the host families, because my family, we've hosted the exchange students that come over for the past like 5 years, I think, maybe. I'm not sure. And it was just really neat to finally be able to see what they were experiencing and see things from their side. And each of my host families was very different, and I just really enjoyed being able to see all the things that they did. And on my free day, I was with my second host family, and we just got to go around the town in their car and see the buildings, and we went into shops, and their shops are very different than they are here. They're a lot cleaner, which was nice, and it was really cool to see the that's the Vaughn dance, which was very difficult to learn. Well, Alta spoke about the tea ceremony, but that was really cool, and I actually like matcha, so it was very enjoyable.
Hello, my name is Logan, and by far one of my favorite parts of this exchange trip was being able to spend time with my host family during the host family free day. My host family took me to Otaru, Japan, and we went out on a boat and got to explore the coastline and got to look at all like the cliffs and the caves. Then after that, we actually had some really delicious ramen at a traditional restaurant. Then we went to Sapporo, which is the biggest city on Hokkaido. We went to the main part. It was like kind of like a mini Tokyo, which was really neat. And those are photos from Tokyo. The bottom left is the big gates in Kyoto, which is like a really old city in Japan. All those photos are mainly from around there, which is really neat. And the fireworks show by far towards towards the end of our Obihiro time was really neat, because it was a 2-hour-long fireworks show, and from experiencing the fireworks here and everywhere else in the United States, like in like Colorado in there, it was just really like overwhelming, because they had a music show and light shows going on, and it was insane. It was really cool. And thank you.
Thank you. Did the chaperones have a good time too?
We had a great time. I think we were probably surprised at how hot it is in Japan that time of the year. We weren't expecting that, but Yeah, it was a great experience for the kids, for sure. I think they all probably were not expecting to enjoy it as much as they did and to have the experience they did, so it was really good to have them kind of open up and now want to explore more, is what I'm hearing from some of the parents, that the kids are wanting to go back to Japan, so that's exciting.
We would still be in Japan if we didn't have Alta with us. We got so lost, she was our little navigator. I'm glad to be back.
Well, this has been a ongoing program for a long time in Seward between the cities, and sounds like this year was a big success.
Our police chief is.
Yeah, Chief Tyner went.
And John?
And John. Yeah, what year well, you don't have to say what year you went.
It was also nice that we got to see, they seeked us out, we got to see some of the kids that we had hosted in the past.
Okay, yeah, because you hosted
Oh,
quite a
cool.
bit. No, that's fantastic. That program started, believe it or not, after I graduated from high school here, so I had an opportunity. Councilmember?
I just want to compliment you guys. That was a very good presentation.
Yeah.
It really gives a glimpse in the awe of that country that we, actually, if we count, I didn't know Chief Tyner was in there too, that there's 8 of us. I think there's 8 of us. There's 6 of us on the dais right here, and then 2 more that have been to Japan. So, and it's just like you guys, it was just awe, and I've traveled quite a bit, and that country is something special. So really cool program. Worth every penny we spend, I think.
Madam City Manager.
So Amanda, how long will this year's 4th of July fireworks be? I do not want to be up till 2 a.m., so.
We want a little music too.
We were.
like a drone show.
And didn't you have to dance the entire time during the fireworks? That's what Chief Kreitz was saying. Didn't you do a dance? Or was that during the festival?
No, during the festival, it was 2 straight hours of dancing around about a 3-city block, and just made a big circle.
Wow.
And these kids did all 2 hours. Chris said they don't have to do it all, but they did.
Fantastic. Really good presentation, thank you. Thank you very much. And we made you sit through all of that other stuff. It would have been a lot more if we hadn't put everything on the consent agenda. So. Thank you. The only other item of business we have is, in other new business, to discuss paving priorities, and this was brought to us by Councilmember Warner. And you can find some information on page 97 if you have your packet. And I'm going to turn this over to administration and Councilmember Warner, however you want to do it. Do you want to give some background first?
If Councilmember Warner would like to speak to why she brought this forward, we can go from there, that would be great.
Okay, go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Mayor McClure. I brought this forward after some recent public comments around Fogneck Avenue. There had been a lot of dust over the summer with the increased traffic to access the new Hilltop property. And so after some of those comments, I kind of started to think about it a little bit more, and then we had something that we passed on the last agenda on paving Betty Keto out across the bay, since there was a company in town that was already providing some paving services for the new Hilltop development. It was a strategic move in getting that at a reduced cost since they were already in town working. So it just kind of made me think, well, what is it that we're doing in the community to address some of the dirt roads that we do have? Because we do have a number of them. I live on one myself. But I think it would be beneficial for us to start to discuss what a priority paving list would look like. How are we making those decisions? What is going to go into making those decisions on which roads are getting paved. There's also a little bit other just back history, additional comments from the community about Lear Road and Almeda also being dirt roads. I drive down Alameda often actually to access some of those businesses that are down there. So I think those are other important roads to look at. I'm sure there's more that I also have not listed here. But it does really come down to, traffic volume, emergency access, public safety, and just long-term maintenance cost of some of our equipment that are going out and plowing and maintaining some of these roads. And so that's why I brought it before you all today.
Okay, thank you. Administration, you had a suggestion, there was a suggestion here about perhaps creating a dedicated fund like we do for sidewalks. We put so much in every year, not enough, but we put money in for continual sidewalk repair, and perhaps we could authorize starting something like that for paving. We don't have the money to pave everything we want to pave right now, but that's an idea. Did you have any input on that?
Yeah, I think that would be a good suggestion to move forward if you would like to recommend us bring back a sort of plan or constructs to do that. I got a list today from our Public Works Director, and there's about 25-ish roads, which is on the lower end, probably more like 30-ish, because all of the roads in the SMIC area are also gravel, but about 25 to 30 gravel roads currently inside the city area. So we could work towards finding both a plan to fund that as well as organizing that in a list of priority, if that is what the council so chose.
If there's interest in that, it might be, to come up with the priorities, that would be sort of work session stuff, I would think, maybe. Or just, we'd need sort of a list of options. I mean, I could name a whole bunch of streets like yours, but like where do we draw I don't know how we make those decisions other than a more lengthy discussion than right now, and that's all I'm trying to say to move ahead with this. Councilmember Wilson.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I think you're spot on, absolutely, and thank you, Councilmember Warner, for bringing this forward, because it's long overdue, and thank you to the residents in those areas who have made it such a point that we're now looking at addressing it, and so I think that's great. And so, yeah, I think that having administration bring back some type of options, maybe,
So what if at a future council meeting, you gave us some time to put together a draft priorities list, just so that we can do some thinking and background research on what that would look like, and we can bring that in as a discussion item and talk through what that looks like. If there was room for further discussion there and you wanted to do a work session from that. But I do think if we laid out the draft pretty well with reasoning and brought in some of the public works director as well, we can talk through that and showcase that as well as a funding mechanism.
Okay, Vice Mayor Rosinga first.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So this would be something that we could also have on our priorities for when we go to legislative, when we go to DC and visit with our representatives, that we can bring this forward as something that maybe we can, and try to get as much done. I think it's great that we could start the idea of starting a fund, but then I'm afraid we'd be piecemealing things instead of maybe trying to go for something where we can get a good grant.
Yes, definitely. And I think too, adding the idea of a fund that could be utilized for one-time funding. So a lot of times when we utilize grants or we go after grants, we have to be careful not to create ongoing costs, because a grant is a one-time funding source. But with a situation like this, that is an ideal one-time funding source, where it's just to pave these roads that are unpaved.
Right. Councilmember.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I know that talking about paving streets and funding to pave streets doesn't actually address the problem. The problem is hopefully we have lots of new development throughout our community, and when we're having lots of new development, we're going to have roads that need to be paved, and it's always better to do the development before you pave the road, because otherwise those trucks destroy the pavement and you have to repave. But I know that I've seen in other communities, and I believe I've seen it in our community too, that a lot of times the contractor, maybe it's the contractors, I believe it's the contractors, are responsible for paying for for lack of the proper term, a dust truck that is scheduled to maintain and keep the dust down during construction season. They keep the potholes taken care of without paving the road and then beating it up and having to repave it again. So I think we need to have a discussion. Maybe it's during the development reimbursement program, maybe it's I don't know where it goes, but if and as we all know, I'm very pro-development, but it can't be at the destruction of the quality of life for the people who live in those neighborhoods during that development process. So I'm not sure how we address that issue as well.
That harkens back to the previous discussion we had about the input and conversations we have prior to doing the development reimbursement program. So that could be something we gauge or engage in talking about when we talk about those applications.
Right, we're a little behind on that because we didn't even think of that at the time.
We did have a very dry summer.
And it
was great, but it does have some downsides.
Councilmember Barnes.
Okay, thanks. I just want to reiterate that I think Doug really needs to be part of this conversation. For instance, the parking minimums discussion, you think of winter and plowing for these guys, it's a whole different ballgame for them. So we make a decision that might be really onerous on them. So.
Yeah, so from an administration standpoint, tonight I would recommend or ask that we are directed to create a sort of draft document so that Doug and his team can come forward with that, and then next time we have this conversation, he'll be here to talk through which roads he sees are more important than others. Not that they're not all important, but which ones would be higher priority over time. And then discuss that with Doug and council and administration.
Sound good?
Sounds good to me.
I hate to hark on the fact that I was here many years ago, but we didn't have any paved streets until after the earthquake in 1964, and I grew up with dirty hair all the time. They used to water, like they had the water trucks that would go around, and it was pretty gross, I remember. Anyway. Does that cover it? I know this isn't gonna, I know there are certain people that want it right now, but this is how it works. We have to at least begin the process, and thanks to those who brought it forward to our attention. Appreciate that. And thank you, Councilmember Warner, again, for, it was funny because I was going to do that, put this on as a discussion, and then I found out you already had, so we've decided she thinks ahead of me at the same time or something. Okay, so we're down to citizen comments. This is a 5-minute time if you want to speak for up to 5 minutes on any topic, and there's no sign-in. So if any of you citizens sitting there would like to say anything, all you have to do is raise your hand. Okay. Yeah, you can come on. And once again, even though we know who you are, you need to say, just for the record, okay.
Randy McCarvin, outside city limits. I'd like to thank the council and everybody here for letting a crazy guy like me speak. I'd like to do a couple shout outs. I want to thank the clerk for his tribute to Ozzy. I thought that was very passionate, very, something that showed the human side of him. About the signs in Harbor, they say they're going to do an investigation. I can tell you right now, you can look at the problem on Google Street View, right from your right there, 1300 4th Avenue, and that will put you right in front of the men's restrooms, and you'll see how this sniping problem is both a safety issue and a parking issue, and it's on North Harbor, South Harbor, and in the center lot. There's a few outlined ones, but those are the three, and once you get through those three, you'll realize that, hey, we do have a problem. And some of them are costing us a lot of money every day. Well, I don't know every day, but they're costing us money. And The parking fund, I think, should be a cash cow, okay? I mean, you should keep enough money, because the lots are definitely on the downhill side of their life cycle. I think the center lot now is gonna need annual maintenance every year. I don't think the Uplands lot is financially viable to pave yet. On the vision that came out the other day, with Harbor Master moving up there, they talked about a bike path. The bike path is already there. If you move those little white pylons, the parking bars, if you move them back 12 feet on the south side, the bike path is already there. Okay? It's gravel on the other side. Let's see, 3 minutes left. Good. I would like to see the city somehow work with the state more to combine these bike paths. That we have a bike path here, and we call it the bike path, and everybody knows it's the bike path. And out where I live, we have a bike path, and everybody knows that it's the incomplete bike path. I really thought that the city should have put some pressure on the railroad via the permit process to finish that bike path. It's basically asking our kids to go play in the highway. It shouldn't be that way. The bridges are there, the expensive part is already there. I know it's a lot more complicated than that. They're looking at the liability side. I'm looking at my kids going between 2 cars at 55 miles an hour because have to be on the highway. I think all the new roads should be considered, all the new paved roads should be considered for a bike path would be feasible there. Out at the prison, probably no. They don't have too many bikes over there. And the one that I see up at the top of the hill in the new developments, I was so shocked that I thought it was a mistake. And I went home, got my bike, and I rode back up there, and I rode up the hill to ride on this little bike path that's only a couple 100 yards long. And I said, wow, the light bulb finally went off. But we should connect all the little bike paths that we had, marketed as a bike path, not the city's bike path, not the state's bike path. If we always think, if we always look at it as small, it's always going to be small. I don't see there's a lot of money, but I think it's a big quality of life issue, especially if you live out of town and you come under frequently. I know a doctor does. I know kids besides my children come in on that, right on the highway. It's just not a good feeling. And anyway, look that up on when you get home, and you'll see exactly. They say a picture's worth 1,000 words, and that picture from the restroom, looking west, is worth 1,000 words. And anyway, thanks for the opportunity. I appreciate it.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak? Okay, seeing none, I'll bring it to council and administration comments. Madam City Manager.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I will pass to Deputy City Manager Bickling.
One thing I did have an oversight on the city manager report, if you guys look on page 85 to 87, there is a very comprehensive report about what Selena is doing in the GIS world, and so we're going to be giving you guys regular updates that look like this, that show you the progress and what you guys are receiving for those funds. So, yeah, cool.
And then a reminder to come to the town hall meeting on September 29th at the Ray Building. I'll finish and end with my same comment.
Okay. Councilmember Warner, I'll start with you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor McClure. I just want to thank everybody that came out and gave public comment today. I really appreciate it when we have the public come and engage with us and let us know what's happening for them in the community. It really helps make some decisions on this end and bring things bring some topics up for us all to discuss. I also want to thank Yolanta again for coming and giving the presentation at the library. Like I said, the library is one of my favorite places in our community, and it's just, it's nice to have it be warm and welcoming. Looking forward to the tea party, actually, not gonna lie. Thank you.
Okay, Councilmember Kreitz.
Same, I'd like to thank the Chamber and Library for the presentations and information on highlights that you gave. I think sometimes you don't think about it if you're not involved, like I don't have small children and don't go to the library, but just to see kind of all the things that are happening and going on that we're providing is wonderful. Also, the kids are coming in and talking. They did a great job. I know they were scared about having to present in front of council, but I will say just on my end, having hosted the Japanese students when they come over, it was really good for me to go over there and see just where they're from and just kind of the things that they want us to experience when they're there. It really gave me some ideas of kind of how to enhance their visits when they come stay with us. You know, it was such a, I don't even know how to say, but you've been there, so it must, you know, been there, but just how clean Japan is, how polite the people are, just how safe you feel. It was just a really different place. I went to New York City right after I left Japan, and it was like 90 days. So. But I just want to encourage any students in the future to apply for this. You know, you may not think that you want to do it, but when you get there, you'll change your mind. So.
Thanks. Councilmember Barnwell.
Yeah, ditto in Japan. It's a great experience, and that's brave of those kids to come up here and do that, and they did a great job. So thanks. And the GIS report, that's great. That's good stuff. So thanks for putting that in there. And the public, thanks for Mr. McFarland for the ideas on parking and for the bike trail. I think that's a great idea. We've actually been talking about that for years. We need that. It would be great to have a bike trail perimeter around town, you know, that tourists and locals could use. The electrical town hall is at 7 p.m. at the Ray Building on the 29th. So, yep. Other than that, and the last thing is Mr. Peck, City Clerk. I missed the last meeting, and I just was so impressed with the YouTube these days and the tabs on there and the quality and all the different angles. Although actually, Mr. Bicklin looks a little silly on camera. That's pretty dang good. I would like a front center of me when I'm talking now.
No.
Don't encourage her.
But the tabs are really cool. So yeah, thanks for doing that. Okay.
Thank you.
Councilmember Wells.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just want to make sure that everybody knows that early voting has started, and no matter who you vote for, get out and vote. And there are some ballot measures that are extremely important that could possibly affect how you vote and when you vote. And so no matter who you vote for or what you vote for, go out and exercise your right to do so. That's it, Madam Mayor.
Okay, Vice Mayor.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Thank you. Thank you. You just stole what I was going to say. Yeah, early voting, of course, is a reminder for that has started. And yes, please get out and vote, and also educate yourself on what's going to be on this ballot and the borough ballot also. I think there's some important things that are going to need to really be decided upon. I would like to also say thank you to the Library Museum Director for the presentation. That was very good. Sister City Exchange, Obihiro, I did go, and I don't remember if it was 83 or 82, I don't remember what year it was. But everything that I heard from the participants, and of course you, is what I remember. And there was one photo in that presentation of a long bench in a park.
This used to be the longest bench in the world.
I saw that. I was there in the 80s. I sat there and looked at that and went, wow. And so it just brought back all these memories of Japan when I went there. And I wasn't there as an exchange student. I was there part of our high school band and choir. We were invited to go over to Japan for that. So it is a very, very super experience to undertake. And I just think that anybody would they should just really understand that's very nice, that's very good, and it would be something that I would highly encourage everyone to try to do. And that's it. Thank you.
Well, I'll echo once again what everyone said. Both presentations were wonderful. This was a neat meeting because we didn't have a whole lot of stuff to vote on, but yet it was we covered a lot of material. And I want to just recommend, the fact that that all that stuff was on the consent agenda. You can go online and you can go into the packet and find out what all that stuff was. And I recommend people keeping up on what we do. And, yeah, don't forget to vote. I think it goes way beyond reality sometimes to think that we have people sitting down here for 2 full weeks during business hours for people whenever they are comfortable with it to come in and early vote. And it's amazing. I mean, that's really good. And then there is Election Day on the 7th. And by this time, I hope everybody knows that we do have an election on the first Tuesday of October. Some people don't know. And it struck me as I've been going from thing to thing lately, like the Fort McGilvery thing, and we had a RBHS talk on GIS in the cemeteries and cemeteries in how to reserve your plot and this and that last Thursday. There's just a lot of things in this town going on. People should never be bored because you can be out every night doing something and learning, and just keep your eyes open. We have now a source of events. I think the Seward Follies doing a pretty good job of posting events. There's also flyers all over the place. I happen to be the flyer poster for RBHS, so I'm familiar with all the places where there are flyers on bulletin boards now, and look at those. There's stuff going on.
And a shout out to seward.com/events, a really good
And
spot.
there's that. I was trying to think exactly how to say it. And it kind of cross-references around too. So yeah, the chamber has events posted too. Anything else? Okay, then I will adjourn this meeting at 8:21. Wonderful.